Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the program. And with me, we have a very special guest. He is Colonel R.K. Walker, and he has had this second annual Salute to the Stars and Stripes over at Iroquois Amphitheater. It will be this coming July the 4th, appropriate. It will be on at 7:30 to 10:30 p.m. and it's free. So, welcome, Colonel Walker, and tell me a little about it. Yeah, all right. Tell me about it, because you have...
Well, this is really going to be, we had it last year, and it went on to 12:30 midnight. It would have kept going on, but one of the dancing crew got mad because her little girls wasn't on yet, and she walked out, or we'd have still been there. And it was a very good show, and it poured down rain, but all the grandparents stayed, and all our loyal supporters, and a little bit of everybody. And at 12:30, we ended the show by singing God Bless America, and we all broke down and cried, and it was a success, and they asked to come back this year.
And who's coming this year?
Oh, we got the biggest show this year. It's wild. Last night we signed up a belly dancer, and she's great, and our Optimist Club comes over and passes out little flags and the programs and what have you, so I'm sure all the old geezers on the Optimist Club are going to get a kick out of the belly dancer. We have a harpist that I called today that's going to play, a real fine girl. We start the show out at... on 4th of July at 7:30. Well, we have an older's band. We have 3, 4 older people, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and they get there at 6 and sit from about 6 to 7:30 and play a little country music and what have you while we're setting everything else up on the stage. See? Well, we have a big American flag, 20 by 30 in the backdrop, and all the people that come in get a little 4 by 6-inch flag similar to that, and programs, and get them all set down. And then we started off with the Dean of Music down at the University of Louisville, Mr. Bill LaFon, will sing the national anthem. Wow. Well, he's very good voice, sings it out at the U of L ball games, and of course he has a lovely voice. And then we have Gene Stewart, who is at the Roadway Inn, but Red Stewart and Pee Wee King at the Tennessee Waltz, and the family's been very active in music over the years, and he's very good, and he sings, and he's our MC, very professional. He's a professional down through the Roadway Inn, you know, he has his little show. And then we just start with dancing and singing and dancing and singing, and hopefully every once in a while we have a sword swallower or a juggler or something a little different, because dancing and singing is great, but after a while you leave a little... You know, and then we got the American Legion, the Highland Post, their color guard was there last year, and they brought a man out by the name of Captain Cruthers, who is he's an elderly gentleman who was in World War I, and he is the one that just loves this flag wildly, and he was all the time writing the mayor a letter or somebody, or the president, they're flying their flag wrong, or they're not doing this according to protocol. Well, he comes out on the stage, and he has a little flag, and he gets up there, and the American Legion brings him out, and he has this 5-10-minute poem that he has rehearsed, and he talks about the flag, your flag, and of course he does it with such vigor and loves it so much that everybody shuts up. You know, anytime you do something and you're enthusiastic and you respect it yourself, everybody shuts up. He does a very nice job. And then we had last year the Air National Guard, the bean suit people out there, they came out and they marched somebody in, I think like Kathy Tao Jones, the young lady that's handling my music this year, is my music director. She sings This Is My Country, which is very beautiful, you know. And they march her in. And this year we've Colonel Wallace, who's with the Century Division, with the Kentucky National Guard, and the Century Division, General James, are buddies of mine. So this year they're going to send a group over. Now we have hoped to have all the American Legions and all the VFWs and all the Boy Scout troops and all the people that have flag sets to march down the aisle with one big parade of flags and maybe put 100, 200 flags across the stage. The big flags, 3 by 5 or 4 by 6 Well, getting our date and working things out with the Iroquois Amphitheater and working things out here and that, next year, we got this thing locked in now, is annual on the program. 4th of July, ours. Mayor Sloan's helping me and his crew down there, and I talked to somebody down there today, called on some stuff. They're having a little thing over at the zoo on Flag Day, and they're going to have needed some stuff to fix it all up, and we got talking about it, and I went back over it. They're making a special proclamation, salute the Stars and Stripes, and Mike Carroll, the Board of Aldermen, has been very nice working things out for me, very cooperative. Got 100% cooperation. Didn't have much last year under Stansbury. Got it this year under Sloan, so I'm sure that from now on the 4th of July, this will become a tradition and go on and get bigger and better and bigger and better. Now, we got one more audition left, which is next Thursday, the 17th day of June, 6916 Southside Drive. That's over Strawberry Lane, Southside Drive. Got my air conditioning working. Went out the other day and bought an organ so that the people can sing. Little girl last night drove all the way in from Litchfield, Kentucky. That's like 100 lousy miles to sing opera in our thing. She's going to sing Summertime and a couple other things and something from Rigoletto. And she came in to be in it. And we got dancers, singers, and the union has given us a band, Herbie Hale down there, and they're going to come out. And last year, and I'll let you go
ahead. It's all right, Colonel.
Okay, last year we had 50 acts, as we say, had pages and pages, see. Now, some of those people are back this year. Unfortunately, I keep a lousy filing system, and I filed everything away, and the page with their name, address, and phone numbers, I didn't keep, or I've got it, so it's there, and I'll find it someday. But here, we got all these people that were in last year, see, and we had this one little kid that, and that's why I'm down here to say, Sydney, where are you? Sydney, where are you? And all these people, little Sidney Perlman saying tomorrow, tomorrow, and the kid was great, see, and he played in the Music Man or something.
And you just can't find him.
I can't find him. And they had a little girl that was in Derby Dinner Playhouse that was one of the Von Trapp kids that played the violin. And,
really good.
Her last name's Cherry. And
have you talked to Derby Dinner?
I haven't had time. You know, and Coco the Clown was in there last year, and he was great. A little girl named Kathy Kelty was singing great, and what have you, and
a lot of
this was last year. That was last year.
Have how many of them? About 50,
her name is
50.
how do you pronounce that name?
Cassandra.
Yeah.
Cassandra.
Yeah. Well, Cassandra, out there, we need you again. And this year so far, as when we went up, we have we had 30, but we've already added like 10 to it, and if that'll make 40. And then we got the union band that we're not counting, see. And then we've got the professor from the U of L that's going to be there and sing a couple of songs. Plus, last year, Stuart Gene didn't get to sing, you know, because he was so busy, and he's good in himself. So this year, it's going to be so, if I can live through it without it just being so great that it doesn't kill me, that if I can live through it the next year, it's going to be double wild.
Because you were saying, like, they're about to be acts, every act about 10 minutes on stage, and then you have another act.
Well,
going on, or about average.
5 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, you know, what have you, you know. Belly dance we're going to have for 10 minutes. Okay. And then in between, Mr. Stewart does a little talking, a little singing, and then a little what have you.
Why did you start this?
Well, I can't do anything else. And I've always, you know, I wanted to put on Camelot or something like that, or one of them goodies, you know, My Fair Lady, you know, all that. And all my life I've wanted to do this, and the opportunity came about. And since it was 4th of July, and everybody loves the flags, and the VFW and American Legion, and me being an old veteran, and I'm on the Iroquois Amphitheater committee like for 10 years over there. The people took the amphitheater that used to be, that wasn't, and brought it back to almost was like it was before, and will someday be like it was, and we someday get the water to come up in front of the screen, you know, as the curtain was beautiful, and it's nice, and some new chairs that we've been promised by the Board of Aldermen. that get all that fixed up in the back. Well, the South End people, and now it's citywide, and they have hundreds of members of the Amphitheater Association, and I'm on the production committee over there, and I've always been pretty good at handling publicity or stuff like that. So they had some nights open, and I asked them for a couple of years. I said, hey, how about me putting this little old talent show on? I'd had one with Diane Johnson, Diane School of Dance, when I was president of the Iroquois Civic Club back in 1966 or something like that, years ago. And we put one on over at Iroquois High School, and we raised money for the Benet School for Sexually Handicapped Children, which was, I think, up on Douglas Boulevard. And in those days, you could call up a disc jockey, and they would volunteer. And Sam Gifford was younger then, and he was a disc jockey. And a fellow down on channel on WKLO was one, and we had another guy from WAVE who was a disc jockey, and they all came out. And for a Friday and Saturday night, we put on this show, and it was pretty good. And we just used this one dancing school, and a few kids filled in and what have you, and we put on 2 or 3 hour show and raised a little funds, you know. And then it gets in the back of you, see?
Right.
Now, since then, I've had a couple bands and joined the Country Music Association, and a life member and a member of BIMI, that's Broadcast Music Deal, on the deal like ASCAP, and had my own label, Magic Mood, and my own publishing company, Music in the Magic Mood, and we all had these bands out playing around, and we dreamed we'd go to Las Vegas and be on the Johnny Carson show. Of course, I'm on the Jim Nolan Show, so hallelujah. And, you know, it's, but the record stunk. And I think they got played in Brandenburg and Lebanon Junction and, you know, what have you.
It's hard to get.
It's hard, and if you're not in the top party, you know, they don't play you, and how do you get in the top party if they don't? And so here came this great opportunity to put this show on, so I jumped in there and took it. It's your turn now.
Thank you, Colonel Walker. He does not speak very much here. I know about that. I've been talking to him a couple times on the phone, and he's just like this, really. What about the auditions now? You have one coming up on June the 17th, a week from today.
That's it.
And what's and then how many people can anybody can come?
Anybody can come. We're pretty much getting filled up. Nobody got turned down. We had some clinkers last year, and we got a couple this year. But nobody gets turned down because it's for fun.
And it's volunteer.
Volunteer. Nobody gets paid. Of course, with the union people there, nobody can get paid because they don't get paid, okay? And when people like Gene Stewart come out and come over there, and all these fine people come, I got one of the guys that plays over the executive end, Mr. Gilbert, who goes under, I think, Joe Jackson or something like that, plays the drumming for the Stinging Strings over there, you know. Well, he's coming over, and we got all these people that help. And nobody gets paid, and the Iroquois Amphitheater Association and all the Iroquois people, see, they are the ones that do the Kathy Mead of the Cultural Arts down there, the biggie, that handles it all, puts it all together as far as her thing. She is the one who sees that everything gets on the stage at the right time, and if they need a kettle drum to dance on or something, it'll be out there, and the right lights and the music.
We don't have like anything like this in Louisville, really.
Well,
we don't have anything like this.
A volunteer, what I called it the first year, a talent show, but it's not really a talent show. It's a music extravaganza, because these people aren't just like getting in. Some of these people are fantastic. I mean, you just can't believe it.
Where do you hear from some of these? Not only from auditioning, do you hear from word of mouth that this person does?
Yeah, or somebody brought it. The lady was there last night, and we said, God, I said, we got this, we got that, we got this, we got that. But, you know, you get little dancers and singers and dancers and singers. And I said, if we just had a little, you know, something else, a little class, you know, in the place. Well, I know a harpist. So she went over and put her own quarter in the pay phone next door at the restaurant, because we don't have, you know, the vacant building and the phone. Called this girl up, and I called this girl up this morning, and she showed up, going to be there, and going to play her harp. Now, she's good. We've already checked her out, so we don't, she shows up bodily to show her commitment. We found out last year that if they don't show, see, Dr. Ryan, who he's helping me, but he couldn't help me as much this year, because he is now Lieutenant Governor of the Optimist. He's president of the Kimmel Optimist Club, and he got elected Lieutenant Governor of the Kentucky West Virginia District, so he was tied up, okay? But last year he had all these people who were going to be there, you know. And I said, well, they're going to come over and practice. They're going to come. No, they're great. They're, you know, they're going to be there. They're going to be there. Don't worry, they're the best. Well, come tonight, they weren't there. But we had 50 or 100 without them, and thank God some of them didn't get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and how are you going to stop it this year?
Well,
Like this?
if they make the commitment, which these people have done, some of them have been there last week and this week and a week before last and next week.
No, practice.
We know that they'll be there, and they're getting more familiar with us. We're getting familiar with them. Plus, if they come to our rehearsal and say, well, like, we can't bring all our equipment. This little girl can't bring her harp out because if the humidity is a certain deal, she's got a problem. The strings even break, say. But she will be there that night with her harp, and we've already found out with enough people that she can sing. And like I have seen Mr. LaFon down there sing enough songs at the U of L at doing the half or the start at the national anthem to know that he's just great, and as long as he's there that night, he knows what to do, and he's a professional. Plus, I had a party in my backyard for John Young Brown and Harvey Sloan doing the politicking days back when they were running for governor, and he came out and sang My Old Kentucky Home, and he has been to several other parties we've had in the backyard, either for Mazzoli or Ford or somebody back there, and Huddleston or somebody, and he has come and sang there also, and I know the man is just fabulous.
That's great.
And I've got just so many fabulous talents here, you know, that...
Well, let's take a break, and we'll be right back, okay? Colonel Walker, continue to talk. Okay, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
All right.
Showtime, pay television that's tuned into you. When you tune into Showtime, you're turning on the best. Blockbuster movies, dazzling stars, spectacular specials, original series, outstanding theater, uncensored comedy, and much more. See the shows you want when you want them, uncut and commercial-free. Total entertainment 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. For an unbeatable pay TV value, order Showtime today.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. With me is now Colonel Walker. He is in charge of the salute to Stars and Stripes over at Iroquois Amphitheater on July 4th between 7:30 p.m. and to 10:30 p.m. He has auditions on June 17th. Go ahead at the Southside Drive of what's
6916 Southside Drive, right across the street. Well, by Moby Dick's. Everybody knows where Moby Dick's is. It's out there on Strawberry Lane and Southside Drive. We're going over the Shively Newsweek does my printing, and we're going over there the next day or so and get the program printed that he passed out that night. And that's why I want to get it all together and get everybody's name and what have you and what they do and fill in the new acts and what have you. And
what's other
but you just want to read the kind of idea of what they kind of do with the deal. Yeah.
You have a tumbling act, 2 girls and 1 boy, and then you have a jazz number, which is good, and then you have I don't know some of the ones right here. They just again America type of songs, some of them, and then you have Kenny Rogers type.
Yeah, this guy's really coming along. The first day he was there, he came out and he was standing up there. He'd never been in front of anybody or anything, and he shook so bad it was pitiful. Then the next time he came back, and last night the guy's liable to leave us and go somewhere to the Las Vegas. He's just coming along beautifully. Of course, he still hasn't been in front of an audience yet, so he's got to get over there in front of 4,000 or 5,000 people. Right now, that's right. As I told him, somebody can throw up right in the middle of the floor, and nobody's going to be upset because this is far fun. Have a good time. Don't cost you anything. I don't like anything regimentated. Don't like any rules on this. Just do your best. Love your country. Love your flag. Put on a good show. Have a good time. And go back and come the heck back next year.
In fact, you make flags. A lot of people may know about it. Some people don't. And you do you make these flags right here?
Yes. Well, not right here. I represent 7 large companies, and the 7 large companies make those flags. And of course, we had the World's Fair flag, too, which is I brought down for you.
And
you know,
I appreciate that.
Flag,
Right like that.
There, that's right. You know, got that, and this says thank you in all the countries of the world, and this says this little Irish flag for you, and Your program, undoubtedly, I brought this as seen in Indiana, Kentucky, and you go all the way, and I brought you a Guam flag.
Guam.
You go all the way to Guam.
Oh, well, great.
They right in there, see. So
Well,
you're
I might
in
send you.
I had 19 and a half months there.
Is that right? Okay, and then you have a
Well,
flag.
yeah, we made, this is our Kentucky Derby flag that we made up, that we do custom-made work like this.
I don't know how we're going to...
Yeah, well...
Here, hold up on that one, and so they will...
okay, but anyway,
okay.
we made one like this. What made me very happy, we made one for Kent Cigarettes, for Brown Williamson, the back British American, and it's a P. Lorillard, but they buy the franchise, and the franchise for Europe was bought up by Brown, British American, and they bought 300 or 400 made up that they had in India and China and everything, and I felt like one day in my life I was international, you know, and had been there, and like the little girl, you know, coming from Elizabethtown to singing the opera and driving that far, that really, I almost cried last night. That was very emotional to know that somebody would come that far. Now today, the Kentucky Opera Association called.
Oh, really?
I write letters to these people. Like I go to ballet and I go to the opera and I go to fool actors theater and love all that junk. They try to because I want to, you know, went to manual, so I'm trying to put a little class in my life. So I write these letters down to these people and I say, hey, you know, don't renew my tickets, drop dead. You always ask me for donations, you know, all this stuff. You know, and really, and then finally, and my one secretary, she tones my letters down because I get, you know, people pretty PO'd. So, and I hired this little girl the other day, fine little girl, from goes out to U of L, and I must have told her to do some of this thing, and I say call somebody at SB. She must have, you know, not been a little stronger, see, because today, you know, I get some volunteer calls from some of these organizations that I was, you know, feel. So anyway, in all good faith to them, but they're always asking you for help.
Yeah.
And all these years I've been helping, and now we got this thing free to the public, and we would like some help from some of the people in the community in this deal. See, the other day I called Frankfurt Arts Commission, and then they give me another number, and I call another number. Then they give me an outfit here in Louisville, the Greater Louisville something. Now they were willing to maybe let me apply for a grant, but I don't want a grant, I just wanted some help. So then they give me another person, and then they finally give me the School of Performing Arts out here, this deal by Manuel. And I go around, and they got all these. I know they're great, you know, and I hear about them. And somebody told me the other day they had a band, a stage band, played better than Stan Kenton. They had this big brass section. They had a drummer that was better than him, and he'd been a professional drummer for 35 years, traveled with carnivals all over the world, plays executive in now. And he said, this high school kid will blow your mind on the drums. Well, you call, you can't get them. They're busy, they're booked up, they're gone, plus you got to pay them. So, you know, and they're just, it's so hard to find volunteers. So the next thing to do is to sit down is all the people that borrow flags from me, hit me for money, sell me for tickets that I support. And then over years, you were involved in a lot of things, clubs and what have you. You support in a lot of, you know, things I'm in, see. You write them these letters, and you say, please help, please help, please help. Well, you don't hear back, and then the next year you write them, please help, and you gets to you, you know. Then you call them up, and you get run around, see. So finally today, the Kentucky Opera Association called, and they're going to give me a first-class opera singer that's going to come, a professional that's on their staff. Now, I've got this sweet little girl that come from Litchfield that come up. There's no way she's going to be out. So we're going to have one of them to sing a song like in the first hour or something, and then in the second hour we're going to have this little girl sing, and then maybe in the third hour or something, because I think it should be for everybody.
Yeah, sure.
It's not just a little dancing, you know, and not just a little belly dancing or so, or sword swallowing, but a show that everybody would like, part of the community, see? Plus all the kids or all the people in it, we have T-shirts, you know, and the ones I had last year said, I stood up on Independence Eve. See, we were going to have it every year on Independence Eve.
Right.
We were going to work hard on Independence Eve to make Independence Eve bigger than New Year's Eve.
Right. Boy,
See,
that's big.
you know, And then they decided that Wacky needed Independence Eve, and they moved us to the big day at the 4th. So we're happy, though, we got the big day the 4th, and we took it very positive because, after all, the 4th is where we wanted to be, you know. And now we worked into such a fantastic show. But by gum, we want to stay now on the 4th. We don't want next year Wacky, WHAS, WAVE, or somebody comes in and says they want the 4th again, and then they're going to put us back on the 3rd. We want to make it
on a regular annual basis on
at
the
the
day.
amphitheater. Now, 56, and if the Lord lets me live to 65, then we'll be in. See, I put on a horse show for the Kidney Foundation for the Optimist Club, the Greater Louisville Association Optimist, over at the fairgrounds for 8 years. I've never been on a horse in my life, didn't know anything about it, but I put the show on, just like I don't know a lot about music, see, but it's just routine of putting it together as doing the thing, okay? Well, when I dropped and said, hey, I've had it, let somebody else do it. Let one of the younger guys take it over, no more horse show, you know? So this thing, I am sure that it's going to go on and on because there's too many people and the talent people that are outgoing that want to do it.
So everything is set now for July 4th. You feel good about it?
Feel great about it. Wow.
And it's going to be lots of people out there. There's going to be
the park will be full of people. If it doesn't rain, they'll come over. Last year we had all 3 TV stations.
Oh, that's right.
They were all out there. Had the newspaper, the neighborhood section, the Shively Newsweek, made the Louisville magazine, had a riding original run on me on the thing. It was great. And I made U.S. News and World Report. Made a national magazine. Oh, you got to write, got to print them all, or quote me a couple lines.
Really?
You know, on the, well, how did I think of flags were going the world since Reagan was in, and how are people doing, and whatever. Now, since the whole world has gone, in a sense, a lot of people out of work. I run a little ad the other day for a little part-time girl, and one little 2 or 3 lines, see, and that's why I finally just hired some kid in the neighborhood, because that'll blow your mind. But I had 35 letters, one little line to a blind ad of people with University of Texas and everything that want to practically go to work for the minimum wage to type 3 days a week, and it's sad. And I just looked at the letters. I thought I'm just going to probably Xerox them all and send them up to Reagan. But he's probably already got 50 million anyway. You know, it's so sad. So, and I just asked one of the kids over at the florist, is a friend of mine, I said, hey, you know somebody? And they said, oh, so-and-so would like, and I said, send her over. You know, if she can, if she's going back to school and going out to U of L and lives in the neighborhood, send it over, you know? But our flag sales, in the midst of all this, have been up 43%. Now, with everything else going to pot, flags are up. Why are flags up? Because they got to hold on to one thing, and that's the flag. And when the big companies seem to be cutting down on, maybe they call to put some trees out in their yard or some landscaping, because they can, for $50, $60, $100, $200, put up a new flag. And this is what we stand for here, our flag. And
you're proud of it.
Proud of it. Sales are up. People are buying them. Everything looks beautiful. I appreciate you having me down here.
Colonel Walker.
And I can use a few more in the thing.
All right, so you heard it, and it's going to be on June 17th over the auditions. For any help, please call Colonel Walker. And this has been Jim Nolan, and I'll see you on July 4th. I'll be over there. Thank you. I'll see you next week.